All right, let's get right into it. We're going to talk about one of those super common and, let's be honest, incredibly frustrating things our brains do. You know exactly what I'm talking about. That feeling when you can recall some totally random fact, but you have no idea where you put the keys that were literally in your hand 2 seconds ago.
Right? It's this exact situation. You can remember the lyrics to a song you haven't heard in a decade, but something as simple and important as where you parked your car this morning, it's just, poof, gone. It's enough to make you feel like your brain is just not working right.
But here's the thing, and this is the whole point we're getting at today. Your brain is not bad. It isn't broken. In fact, what might feel like a major flaw could actually be the sign of a really active, high-functioning mind. So no, this is not a personal failure. It's actually a pretty smart strategy your brain is using.
So, to understand what's going on, let's think about our brain as a kind of filing system. And it's a bit picky, you know? It doesn't treat every piece of information the same. It has a very specific way of deciding what's worth keeping. And it really all boils down to the difference between simple labels and much more complex systems. This breaks it down perfectly. So on one side, you've got arbitrary labels. This is standalone data, like a parking spot number or the name of someone you just met. There's no real connection to a bigger picture, so your brain kind of treats them as disposable sticky notes. But then on the other side, you've got meaningful systems. Now this is what your brain loves. Think about the plot of a book. It's this whole web of characters, motivations, and events all linked together. Your brain gets to connect all those dots, and so it encodes these systems way more deeply.
And believe it or not, there's a name for this whole process from cognitive psychology. It's called selective organization. This is your brain actively deciding to spend its precious energy on information that helps it build a bigger, richer understanding of the world, instead of just memorizing isolated little facts that don't go anywhere. Your keys? Yeah, that's an arbitrary label. A big scientific concept? Now that's a meaningful system. Okay, so that's the how behind it. But this is where it gets really interesting. This tendency isn't just some random quirk. It's actually tied to some pretty amazing intellectual traits. So let's totally reframe this idea of having a bad memory and see what it might actually be. A sign of a really powerful mind hard at work. And here is the fantastic upside. This exact pattern is often found in people with high IQs. It's fueled by something psychologists call intellectual hunger, which is basically a deep-seated need to understand how things work, not just to remember a bunch of facts. A brain like this is so busy building new connections and exploring big ideas that it just doesn't have the time or energy for the boring stuff, like where you left your sunglasses.
This quote just nails it, doesn't it? That whole stereotype of the absent-minded professor, we think of it as an empty mind, but it's the total opposite. It's a mind that is so full, so buzzing with activity and new connections, that the small everyday details just kind of get pushed to the side.
So, what's the big takeaway from all this? Well, it's really about flipping your perspective. It's about learning to see this trait not as some flaw you need to fix, but as a core feature of how you operate, something you can understand and maybe even, embrace. So let's be really clear about this. Forgetting where you put your phone is not a failure of your memory. It is the signature of a brain that is fundamentally wired to hunt for bigger, more complex ideas. Your brain just prefers asking why and how over what and where. It's busy building a whole universe of knowledge, not just cataloging the tiny details of your day.
And that brings us to this one last thought. The next time you're patting down your pockets searching frantically for your wallet, just take a second. Instead of getting all frustrated with yourself, ask this question. Are you going to blame your memory for being bad, or are you going to give a little nod to your super active, intellectually hungry brain, which is probably just busy thinking about something way more interesting anyway?